Hey everybody, it's Eddie. I am back once again, and I'm super excited. So, Real Talk Tuesday. Even though it's technically Wednesday today when this is coming out, and I'll kind of tell you what happened. So, I did the whole thing, and then some of the files got corrupted. Again, still learning how to process and do stuff. So, work in progress, I guess. So, yeah, I am actually re-recording this, but it kind of worked out because I actually got my new camera in, so I'm actually super excited about that. So this is what this is being filmed on right now. So my new camera came in. I'm excited, and so we're just going to do this bad boy all over again. So today I was excited first with the tequila because this one I hadn't tried. This one is called, I think it's De La Cruz, I think it's called. Or Cruz Del Sol, sorry. Cruz Del Sol. Somebody left this at my party for my birthday over the weekend. Oops. And it's actually pretty decent. It's different. It's pretty smooth, but it definitely gives you that little like in the back of your throat. So cheers to that. It's got a smoky flavor to it. Ooh. Yeah, that hits you right there. Ooh. But it feels good. So before we get started today for our Real Talk, a few quick things. I'm really excited because I've been starting to take this more and more seriously. I just built a studio in my back room. It's still a work in progress. We have a few lights. I have a few lights now. I obviously got my new camera. Thankfully, got the new audio setup. I've got a couple of mics. I'll probably wind up grabbing some more down the road. I still have my old couch, but probably going to wind up getting maybe a new couch, some new furniture, and then work on getting like a tapestry back here and some decorations. So it's still a work in progress, but now I have a set place to do my work, and hopefully bring you more good quality content. But I'm really excited because doing these have been a lot of fun, been very therapeutic for me, but I really want to expand. And I've been listening to a lot of people who have been kind of mentioning things in the comments or just talking to me in person or hit me up. And so I kind of want to expand things to a few more days in the week. I really want to get some friends and cool people out here to be able to kind of chat with. And so I think I'm going to expand to what I'm going to call my Foodie Fridays. And it's just going to be where I have, a friend of mine, whoever it might be each week, or maybe I'll do it every other week, still figuring out, but where we get some really good food from somewhere and we eat and we just talk about certain topics and things. I'm getting my GoPro in today, actually. And so I'm going to be using that to vlog kind of just my random shenanigans that I get into. So you'll see more of the Epic Eddie side. But then also looking at getting myself back in shape. And I'll be talking a little bit about that probably more down the road. But I'm looking to get back in shape, get myself back together. And so I kind of want to do like workout Wednesdays and maybe not necessarily dig into like certain workouts, but maybe, some of the stuff I'm doing. But mainly looking at just kind of mindset, motivation, just kind of keeping not only myself accountable, but also maybe helping other people get motivated to start up themselves. And then last but not least, Saturdays, I'm looking at maybe doing like sexy Saturdays and talk about everything from sex to relationships to dating, just all kinds of stuff. And that'll be a fun one to have guests on too. So I'm super excited. If there's any other suggestions or you like those ideas, definitely post it down in the comments. And then also, if you haven't yet and you're seeing this, please, definitely go check out my Facebook page like that. If you're seeing this on YouTube, please subscribe and like it. Throw on the notifications too if you want to see when these videos come up so that you don't miss anything, because I'm really trying to expand and do some things. So I'm super excited. So anyways, today's topic is really interesting. And this came about kind of because of what I was talking about with my friends kind of suggesting things. So one of my friends, I went to go see her at her bar just to, show support, show some love, and just kind of chill for a bit. She asked me, I was like, do you take requests on these? And I'm like, well, I mean, I guess I can, but I don't know. What'd you think? And she was like, well, can you talk about daddy issues? And I'm like, so you have daddy issues? And she's like, no, no, no. I'm just, it was something I thought would be fun to talk about. So I kind of laughed it off. Well, the next day was actually my dad's birthday. Shout out to my dad. Happy birthday. And then the day after that, I was at work, and I usually talk about my mom a lot at work and, in my presentations that I do. And one of my buddies kind of mentioned, he was like, hey, you talk about your mom a lot, but you don't really mention your dad. And I kind of told him a lot of what I'm about to tell you guys about him. And he actually doesn't have a good relationship, or if any relationship, with his father. And he was like, man, that really kind of meant a lot for you to share that. And it kind of, inspired him to maybe try a different route to approach a possible relationship with his dad. And that kind of inspired me to do this. So I thought it would be really fun to talk about, I guess, my daddy issues and kind of talk about, what happened in the past and how the future is looking now. So I'm just going to talk about how it affected me, my perspective of things, and then just kind of how we've developed. So to kind of start this off, we kind of have to rewind a little bit. We rewind back to 1986 when I was born. Popped out. I was obviously incredibly handsome, and they loved me. So my mom and dad were together about a year after me. My middle brother was born, and then my youngest brother about 5 years after that. Well, my dad, he is or was in the military, he's in the Air Force, and we got stationed when I was about 5 years old, maybe. We got stationed, or a little over 5 years old. We got stationed in Germany. I wound up living in Germany for about a year. So let me kind of put this in perspective. My dad was in his 20s, man, when he had us. Military, good-looking guy, obviously, runs in the family, and he's a young guy, and he would get stationed around. And I'm very thankful he was never an alcoholic, never abusive, none of those things like that. But Papa was a Rolling Stone. He definitely liked the ladies, to say the least. And so, long story short, he was kind of doing his thing sometimes, and we were getting it of an age that we were kind of noticing things not being right in the household, and they weren't getting along, and these are things that I don't really remember. I think I blocked out a lot of my childhood, just, I guess, naturally. But, my mom would tell me that she could see that we noticed what was going on, and we would say certain things. And so eventually she made a decision, and she's like, well, I'm going to do one of two things. She was going to put in 2 applications. One was going to be another job in Germany, and then she would have stayed there, or the application for her to go back to the States. Well, whichever one came first, she decided that's what she was going to do, and the one to go to the States came in first. So my parents got divorced, and we all went up back to the States, just me, my brothers, and my mom. So throughout the years, my dad, if he was ever had training in the States, he would make sure to make time to come visit us. He came for our graduations. He made sure to make time for that. So we had kind of a semblance of who he was. We knew him as our dad, and we loved having time with him. But the reality is, it just wasn't a lot of time. We would see him once a year, maybe every couple of years, every few years. And it would also be maybe for 5 days max, but we would make the time. One thing I'm very, very, very thankful for my mom was that she never pitted us against him, never really talked bad about my dad. And I'm thankful for that, because I've seen a lot of families who, when they have divorces, they'll pit the kids against each other. And that's really messed up, because it hurts nobody but the kids. So if that's your situation, please do not ever do that, okay? The situation between you is between you and whoever you're with, and not your kids, man. I'm very thankful my mom instilled that. She constantly said, it's what happens between us was between us. And she said, it has nothing to do with you boys. Love him as your father, respect him as your father. And she always instilled that, and always tried to make sure that he could get time with us when he came to visit. So I am thankful for that. Now, at the time, though, we're kids, man, and me and my brothers all dealt with this differently, but me in particular, I guess I had to grow up fast. The things that you as a father would teach your son, I never got. Like, I had to learn it myself. I had to learn how to shave, how to learn how to talk to girls, and I had to make those mistakes and then learn from them and learn it quick, because then I had two younger brothers that I felt like, I needed to help learn those things too. And so it was a process. Like we started out at like, what was it, six or so that we got back to the States, all the way up until about 2011. So I was in my like mid-20s at that point when we really kind of decided to kind of rebuild our relationship. Because during that time, my dad would kind of start to reach out and to, give more. But I'll be honest, we were kind of dicks. Because as kids, you're like, you're the parent, you're the adult, you should try harder. But then when you tried hard, if you can only try but so hard, and if somebody's not giving you at least something, then it's hard to keep doing that. And so I get that, And so then he would pull back, and then when he pulled back, I'd be like, wait. And then I'd start trying, and then it would flip, because then I'd feel like he's not trying enough, and then it was just stupid. It was just back and forth stuff, but you live and learn. So that was the issue. And then, anytime he tried to start to come back into her life, he kind of came back with like fatherly advice, if that makes sense. But while I understand it and I appreciate it, and advice is advice, it was hard to take when I'm like, I've been there, done that, made the mistakes, and taught other like two boys. So, it was a hard kind of concept to take in. On top of that, man, like, it was hard not knowing how to be, a man in a sense, in my own sense. And my mom could only give me but so much, and she gave a lot. Like, she did her best to be the both worlds, but it made me grow up really fast mentally. And so I had a lot of kind of identity problems when I got old and older, and my brothers got old enough where they didn't need me anymore. They're grown, they're doing their thing. And so my whole identity was around feeling like that kind of, male figure. And then I'm like, well, what do I do now? So I had to really find myself. And so fast forward to 2000, around, I think it was 2011. I was actually working in Alaska at the time, and I remember this like it was yesterday, because we were talking on the phone, and again, we were trying to build a relationship, but it's just kind of wonky. And finally I said, you know what, Dad, you want a relationship with me, and obviously I want a relationship with you. So let's figure this out. Let's put the past in the past. I don't care about, who did what, or we did, I did this and we didn't respond quite away, or like any of that. Doesn't matter. Past is the past. What happened between you, mom's between you and mom. I will always respect you as my father. I will always respect you as my elder. But you have to also realize you can't come at me with that kind of father mentality, because you missed it. And it's unfortunate and it sucks, and I know, but you miss those times to do that. And that's the reality. Also, I'm grown. Like, I'm a grown man now. I'm in my mid-20s. And so I think if we could get to know each other as men, that we could actually build this relationship. And he said, I think I can do that. And from that point on, that's how we dealt with our relationship. And it was a little struggle at first. I'm not perfect. I forget things sometimes. He's not perfect. He forgets things sometimes. But all in all, that's what we did. And our relationship, I think over the past, I think it's been about 9-10 years, has been amazing. I've moved to Vegas about 6 years ago, and he's come to visit, I think, about 3 or 4 times, more than anybody. I actually found out too, his best friend lives out here, and it's been really cool to kind of see him as a person, because he actually, would talk about, so my favorite moment, because what we would always do when he would come into town, There's three things we would usually always do. We would go get some food, and he would usually want to get like a good burger because there's not really good burgers out in Germany. And so we get like some good food. We'd smoke cigars and we'd get some scotch. He's a big scotch drinker. And even though tequila man, I definitely started to kind of get a taste for scotch, which has been really nice. But that was like our thing. And we would just talk, man. We talk about stuff. And I think the most like refreshing or most enlightening situation and conversation I had with him was the last time he visited. And it was really cool because he was telling me like all the dumb shit him and his best friend did when they were in like their 30s. And it was really cool because I was, in my 30s at this point, and I'm like, this is the dumb shit I'm doing now. And the reason this was really meant a lot was because I love my mom as much as everybody knows. That woman was my heart. But there was some things I never told her, I never really told her about, that just debaucherous and all my crazy shenanigans because, I wanted to just kind of keep her, keep it pure for her. But what was really refreshing was just to be my full, authentic self with my dad, with someone who I considered a parent. And that was really cool. It was really cool, man. And that same time, he actually told me a story. And it goes to show you don't really quite know all the sides to anyone's story. So my dad had told me about a conversation him and my younger brother had. And because my younger brother, he is like me in a sense that we are very straightforward. The difference is I have a little more tact than he does to be able to ask or say something. I'll be very direct, but I'll be tasteful with it. My little brother will just blurt that shit out. Like, does not care, which is something I do appreciate about him. But at one point, he had asked my dad why he never fought for us, why he never came for us. And that's a hard thing to ask somebody. And so I had asked my dad, I was like, well, why? I'm curious. We pushed everything in the back, but now that you mention it, why? And he told me, he said, I did, and I wanted to. When my mom had gotten, back when we were in Germany again, and my mom had gotten the paperwork to go back to the States, eventually we packed up everything, went to the bus station, got on the bus, and we were heading to the airport. My dad apparently was in his car driving behind us in a sense to make sure that we got there safe, but also he had a lot of time to think. He said he was driving, and the whole time he's just crying. And keep in mind, I've seen my dad maybe cry maybe twice in my life, and once was at my mom's funeral. And he was driving, tears in his eyes, vision is blurry, trying to drive down this road and follow this bus. And at one point, the bus had to stop, either to let somebody off or let somebody on. And my dad said that he had this moment where he thought, I could get out of this car right now, go up to that bus, go in there and say, don't go. Because that whole time he's crying because he's like, imagine watching the very vehicle that's taking your kids away. And even though he just wasn't in a position for their relationship to be good, he loved us. And he didn't get out that car because he knew that my mom would be able to take better care of the three of us than he would. And he also knew at that point in time of his life, him and my mom weren't going to work out. And I respect that. Because just because two people are good people doesn't necessarily mean they're good together. And, he loved her to death. Him and my mom still were friendly. They sent emails, and they talked about us. And so, my dad never claimed to be a saint, and I'm the same way, but at the same time, he he can own up to his own mistakes, which I appreciate, and that's something I take from him. And he tries to do better, and that's all I can ask from anybody is just to try, because nobody is perfect in this world, nobody. And it was just kind of beautiful to watch that or to listen to that, because it just goes to show, man, like, you don't know. And I'm really thankful for the life that I had, because I'll tell you right now, who knows if he would have stopped her up there and they would have tried to work things out, and we would have seen, them arguing or just not happy. Like, that's not an environment to grow up in either. And then I would have grown up in Germany. Then I would have known German. I wouldn't even be speaking to you in English right now. Who knows? And I've gotten so many opportunities out here that, it's just, and I lived a life, man. I went through hardships and trials, and I think those things build character. And I'm thankful for that, because I am the person I am today because of that. But I'm also very thankful that my dad and I were able to rebuild our relationship, put our egos aside and all the bullshit aside, and actually get to know each other. And I have such a love for that man, and it's not even just because, I'm his firstborn, I got his name. We are very much alike, very charismatic, very funny. But it's just because the world, especially today, has so much negativity in it, and so much bullshit in it, and so much hurt in it, and people are in pain, and I never want to leave this earth, or God forbid, my dad, it's going to happen. One day he'll be gone. And I would never forgive myself if I never took and at least tried to rebuild something with him. Worst case scenario, at least I know I tried. But best case is exactly what happened. And that was me and him were able to spend that time together and build a relationship again. And that in itself was worth everything. So I'm thankful for it, and I'm looking forward to more times and more conversations and more times with cigars, And what's really nice is, maybe one day I will get married and I will have kids, and it's sad that they'll never get to meet my mom, but at least they will have the ability to meet my dad, and my kids will have a grandparent one day. And, these are things I think about, and that's way worth it, more so than anything else. So if you have somebody in your life, man, and you want to rebuild, sometimes you got to just sit down and just say, hey, let's cut all the bullshit, put everything aside, and let's restart and build fresh. Now, I will say it takes two to tango. So you both got to be able to be willing to make the effort. And then call each other out when you're not doing it. Not aggressively, not like an asshole. Just, hey, let's sit down and have a conversation and see where we're messing up and where we can fix it. So that being said, man, this one's to you, Dad. Thank you for the life that I have. Thank you for rebuilding for me, or rebuilding a relationship with me. Thank you for all the love. Thanks for your call this year. I was going through a rough time, and just to know that you made the effort to call me because you worried about me meant a lot. And I forgive all of the bullshit in the past. I'm thankful for the things of the future. So if you see this, smoke a cigar for me, and cheers to you. Love you, Pops. Well, so that's a little bit of that. So there's my daddy issues. But those issues have definitely turned into something amazing. So I hope you guys hopefully got something from this. If you did, throw it in the comments. Ask me some questions. Or if there's things maybe you want to kind of talk about, or maybe I can reflect in life, if it's something I can, shoot it in there. And I want to eventually build a community of people who just can realize that they're not alone, and there are people going through similar, or if not the same things, and we can reach out to one another. So share the love, man. Keep positive, and above all, life's short, man, so make it epic.